Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and 5 other G5 governors have launched a political offensive against the presidential flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. Speaking at a dinner organized in honor of the G5 by Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State, Wike, Okeze Ikpeazu, Seyi Makinde, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, and Otom himself declared that the efforts to break their ranks were failing because they are bonded to save Nigeria. Wike added that nobody can break the ranks of the 5 PDP governors who have continued to insist on the resignation of the party's national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu.
This is the PDP family. Even between us and our wives, we fight at times. But they have shown solidarity to their colleague. Today we are launching PDP campaign in Benue, and these PDP governors.
In spite of the seeming differences that we have, we will not do anything that will undermine the authority and the leadership of the governor. At the same time, we will not do anything that will disgrace our son, who is the national chairman of PDP. Very hopefully, we believe that there is nothing that God cannot do.
PDP no school here in Benue State, we have no problem. By the grace of God, we shall win our election. We have been winning and we will win and we shall win again. PDP! I want to wish you a successful campaign, and by February, March 2023, you will have delivered Benue State, all your candidates to PDP. The PDP family of the coast city in Enugu State, I'm here to support my friend and brother, the former governor of Benue State, God's own gift to Benue people, Governor Samuel Otom, and all our candidates. I will ask and urge the people of Benue State to follow Governor Otom, follow him where no road. Don't follow somebody where no road. I believe that Otom is Moses.
There is now little doubt that Nigeria's main opposition, People's Democratic Party, is still going through a long-running crisis, which has greatly impaired its ability to mount a coordinated campaign ahead of the 2023 general election. The G5 governors, as they have come to be known, a group led by Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, is still pulling in a different direction away from the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, even as they offered a bit of hope within the week about their readiness to reconcile with the mainstream leadership under the right conditions. We are now being joined by Reno Omokri, who is a former presidential assistant and member of the People's Democratic Party. He's here to talk about his party's struggles, as well as react to other significant developments in the polity. Good morning, Reno. Good to have you join us on the morning show today.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Well, let's talk about your party, the PDP, and what's been going on. We know, of course, that things are not the way that they are supposed to be, at least from, if you compare what happened in 2019 when you had a united front to what is now happening. Peter Obi has left the fold, and now you have 5 key governors of your state that you are dealing with. Well, there was a bit of a hope during the week in which Wike and the other 4 governors said that they won't mind a kind of a reconciliation if their conditions are met. And we also heard from the Atiku camp saying that that was a welcome idea to them. How do you assess this new development, and how will your party proceed therefrom?
Well, I heard you, and one of the things that you said in the intro to this is that the PDP is impaired. Now, that's very wrong. The PDP is not impaired. If you look at just this present week, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, our presidential candidate, has been touring the country more than any other presidential candidate, more than Peter Obi, more than Bola Tinubu. So he was in Borno on Thursday, and then on Friday he was in Mina in the afternoon. By evening he was in Jigawa. He's right now he should be in Bauchi. So he's going all over the country. There's no impairment there. These 5 governors that you've talked about, they've said it several times. They're not leaving the party. They have issues. The issues that they have are not with Waziri Atiku Abubakar. They've said so. They have issues with the chairman of the party, and then the chairman of the party is also talking with them. As you saw, they said that there is hope for reconciliation. So you see, let's situate this properly. They don't have a problem with Waziri Atiku Abubakar. He has emerged as his party's candidate democratically. He's going about doing what he needs to be doing right now, touring Nigerian states, unifying the country. And that's our focus. Their issue with the chairman is going to be resolved using the party's constitution, procedures, rules, and tradition. And it's ongoing. There's going to be a resolution inside, but right now we have a presidential candidate who is doing what he needs to be doing.
All right, Mr. Omokri, let me take you up on that. So, firstly, let's talk about this reconciliation process. Why is it taking this long, considering how much time we have leading to next year's presidential elections? And also, the G5 governors have declared that they are, in fact, launching this campaign in the interest of the country. Do you find this declaration, do you find that it holds any weight, or would you say that this is in any way driven by personal sentiment?
These 5 governors are much loved members of our party. So they feel that they are aggrieved, and their grievances are with the chairman of the party. And the chairman of the party feels that he's right, going by our constitution, section 73C, and then the other sections. So they'll probably meet, maybe the board of trustees, or some other, organ of the party. They'll meet and they'll resolve their differences. But that's what I want Nigerians to understand. Their grievances are not with Waziri Atiku Abubakar. I know it sounds good for the media for you to pitch them against Waziri Atiku Abubakar, but they've said several times their grievances are with the chairman. And then the chairman has said several times, he is standing on the constitution, and then so both parties will meet. They'll probably come to a common ground, But what I'm saying right now is that our party's candidate is very, very strong. He's accepted by these 5 governors. They have not said they've not accepted him, and he's accepted by all members of our party. So if there is a point of unity, it is that every member of the People's Democratic Party accepts that Waziri Atiku Abubakar is our presidential candidate, and that he's going around the country, and he's also going to go to these 5 states where these governors have issues with the chairman, and he's going to keep on politicking, he's going to keep on campaigning, and he is going to win the February 25, 2023 presidential elections. So that's what I'm willing to say about that issue for now.
All right, Reno, I just want to follow up on that. I want to just make clear that we're in no way trying to direct or pitch anybody against each other, as you have alluded to earlier. In fact, the question here is, you did mention the grievances within you have the G5 governance and the chairman. How long is it going to take to resolve this? Because as you can tell, the optics don't look good for the party as a whole.
No, when I said the media, I didn't mean you. I mean, the media is the fourth estate of the realm. So I meant the media generally. So as to how long it's going to take, it's going to take as long as it takes. The 5 governors, they have to give some. Let me just put it this way: we have our constitution, we have our procedures, we have our traditions. We have to follow that. And within that framework, they are going to have, a meeting ground, a common ground. How long it's going to take, no one knows. I don't know. Even the 5 governors don't know. But what I know is that eventually there's going to be a resolution.
All right, Reno, I see that you are being careful and you're trying to play down the enormity of what is going on within your party. But I understand that you're a party man and you speak for your candidate. But then I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that with almost, definite consistency in the manner in which Wike and the other 4 governors have carried on for more than 2 months, it looks to a lot of Nigerians like this is like a rehash of what happened to your former President, Goodluck Jonathan, when 5 of the governors in PDP abandoned him and formed the new PDP, a bloc which eventually contributed to the success of the APC in 2015 elections. You say that you do not know for how long this will take, but we know that if this does not happen at all, this will be like a repeat of what happened in 2015. Now you have Atiku Abubakar, who is not a sitting president, but a candidate of the PDP. Going on, yes, is leading in terms of campaigning now, but he's campaigning without any of the 5 governors who are aggrieved. And if you say that they are just aggrieved with the chairman of the party, how come that they have not shown up in any of the presidential campaigns of your candidate? So my question to you is that if this goes on unresolved, what are the chances that those 5 key states will go for Atiku Abubakar in February next year?
Well, to answer your question directly, what happened in 2015, actually it began in 2014 and then all the way to 2015, is not the same thing as what's happening now. In 2014, they staged a walkout. Those governors, Rotimi Amechi, and I don't want to mention all of them, they staged a walkout and then they left the party. They formed a new party, NPDP, new PDP. That hasn't happened now. And then these 5 governors have said repeatedly, we are not leaving the PDP. We're going to stay within the PDP. So, we are comparing oranges and apples. Those people, they left and then they formed a new party. These guys are within the party. Now, if I come here and tell you it's going to take a week, it's going to take a month, I'm going to be saying something I don't know, and I'm very careful to say only things that I know. No one knows how long it's going to take for them to resolve their differences with the chairman. What I can tell Nigerians is that the chairman was democratically elected, and we've got a constitution, and we're going to stick to that constitution. However, within the framework of our procedures and our traditions, we're going to meet with these 5 governors to try to form a common ground. Now, these governors have not yet been campaigning with Waziri Atiku Abubakar. However, they did say that they accept him as the candidate and there is room for reconciliation. So we still have, time. The election is going to be next year, February 25, 2023, and we are hopeful that between now and then, there's going to be a coming together and we'll forge a united front for Nigerians.
I understand that, Reno, but again, I'm trying to say to you that this is not just about the 5 governors who have issues with the chairman. This is also about other states where PDP may not be controlling, but where the PDP machinery seem to agree with the position of the Wiki and the 4 other governors. Let me give you the example of what is happening in the Southwest. In Lagos, for example, you know that Chief Bode George, controls, if you like, the machinery of the PDP in the state. But he's also with the Wiki camp as far as the demands to have the chairman resign is concerned. And if you stretch that argument, it also looks like the legacy PDP members in Lagos do not seem to be in sync with the candidate, the governorship candidate of the PDP in Lagos State. That's one state. Ogun State appears to be in tatters as far as the PDP is concerned. Ekiti, where you have former governor Ayodele Fayose, he's also in bed with Wike and the other governors. Ondo is lackluster, and except for Osun, where you have an incoming governor there, it looks like every other state in the Southwest, for example, are with the Wike camp. For how long can you pretend that Atiku can carry on without being a principal player in how to resolve this crisis?
Well, I take issue with that word pretend, and I'm going to address your question, directly. You talked about Lagos State. Several times Chief Bode George has said he is prepared to leave Nigeria if Bola Tinubu wins the election. So he has already given full and total commitment that he is going to be for the PDP at the presidential level. So he said that before, so yes, he might have some sympathies for some of the things that these 5 governors are saying, but for the presidential election, he's giving total commitment. And then you mentioned Ondo State, that Ondo State is lackluster. I will disagree with you. Ogun State, they have an issue. The issue is not with the presidential candidate. It's an issue within the party of, I think there was some tussle between gubernatorial candidates. And that issue is being resolved judicially. You see, we have to situate things. In the APC, they also have issues in a lot of their states. They have issues in a lot of their states. But then those issues are sometimes they are limited to gubernatorial matters. Now, coming back to the People's Democratic Party, the People's Democratic Party is going to win this election resoundingly. We are doing what we need to do, and let's focus on that. The candidate is doing what he needs to do. As I speak to you right now, no other candidate is traversing Nigeria the way Waziri Atiku Abubakar is traversing Nigeria, and that is the focal point of our campaign. These other issues, will I say lower ticket issues, they are going to be resolved. Now, I cannot say when they are going to be resolved, but all I can say right now is that they will be resolved.
All right, Reno, could you possibly speak to what it will take, in your opinion, to resolve and diffuse the status quo? And also, what's your realistic outlook on the prospect of actually unifying the party in the interest of triumphing at the polls next year?
Well, I think what it will take for us to resolve this crisis is for every PDP member to accept that the Constitution is paramount. So if we accept that the Constitution is a lighthouse that guides our ship to land on a dark day, then we're not even going to have this issue. You see, if we go extra constitutionally, then we're going to be having challenges. And that's what we're trying to say. Let's stick to what the Constitution says. Maybe in the past, people have used their influence or their, whatever they have to influence things within the party. That has to change. We need to have a situation whereby we stick to our Constitution. And then if you're talking about the election, you see, we are having a united house already for the presidential election. Like I said, and I really want Nigerians to understand this, the issue that these 5 governors have is with the chairman, and then the chairman also is saying that he stands on the Constitution. Now, there are people who are meeting, and they're doing a very, very good job. And that's why you saw that the 5 governors said that, look, there is room for reconciliation. They didn't say that, before, but now they're saying there is room for reconciliation. So what's happening right now is that we are going to focus on the presidential election, and we're going to win that election.
All right, Reno, you were with the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, a few weeks ago when he visited the United States. With a few of his supporters. And there were, a few issues, particularly from the opposition, around his visit. Do you have a clear idea, because you were with him, of what that visit was about? Because what we heard was that he met with low-ranking officers of the United States, over there. What was the subject of discussion? Is it about the 2023 elections? Is it about the terror alert that America, announced as far as Abuja was concerned in terms of security? What was that U.S. trip about? And was it really necessary for Atiku Abubakar?
Well, the U.S. trip, he was invited by the U.S. State Department to meet with them, and he went for that meeting and he met with the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Africa. So, if you're meeting with the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, how can that be a low-level official? The U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Africa is the equivalent of a Nigerian Minister of State. So, how can that be a low-level official? It's just politicking, it's silly season in politics. So, what do you expect? Their own candidates cannot even go to the United States, cannot meet with, a clerk. So obviously they are going to try to belittle what our candidate has done. So our candidate went to the United States, went to the State Department, met with Molly McPhee, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State, and they discussed the elections. They treated him like a commander-in-chief, like already the president of Nigeria, because obviously he's the front runner. While he was there, they had discussions on the elections, on how he was going to run his campaign, on what he expected them to do to help the elections be more free and be more transparent. And so it was, right now, that is unprecedented. The last time time something like this happened was when Obama was running in 2008, when he went to Europe and was received by European leaders almost as a president in waiting. So it is very, very silly for the APC to say what they did. Waziri Atiku Abubakar was in the United States. He met with Molly McPhee. He also went to the U.S. Institute of Peace. He met with the CEO, or rather the head of the U.S. Institute of Peace. He also went to Voice of America. He gave an interview there. That was a phenomenal U.S. trip. So anybody saying otherwise, I would challenge them. Bola Tinubu, of the APC, go to the United States. If you're able to go to the United States and meet even a clerk at the State Department, okay, then you can talk. But until then, let me use his words. Please keep short. I think that's what he said. No. He said, please shut up. So I'll use that word. I'll be polite and say, please shut up.
Are you saying, Reno, are you saying on record that Atiku Abubakar went on invitation of the U.S. government, or he sought an appointment to speak with them?
He went on he went at their invitation. I was there at that meeting. He was invited. Look, let me just put it. Let me explain something to you. You cannot enter the State Department if you were not invited. Before we came there, the names of the people who were going to be allowed in were already there. So he did not seek an appointment. No, you have the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria. You are a media house. You can contact them. He was invited. He is the front runner. I'm not saying they invited him and told him he's the front runner. But what I'm saying is that the mere fact that he was the first person to be invited is obviously flowing from the fact that he's the front runner. So he didn't go there to seek an appointment. No, he's very busy in Nigeria. That's why you see that when he went there, he didn't stay for long. He had his appointments and then he went back to Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Omokri, let's, talking about the opposition, let's deviate a little bit and get your take on recent reports around claims of drug trafficking and money laundering, of course, being tagged to the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With what lens do you view this reports, let's put it that way, ahead of next year's activities? And what course do you expect events to take during the course of next year?
Look, I went to Chicago myself. Nobody told me I went to Chicago myself. I went to the court where Bola Tinubu had this issue. I went to the Chicago State University. I went there, I saw the documents myself. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. I went there. Another person isn't telling me. You see the picture on the screen. I took that picture. If you move to the right, you're going to see me in that picture. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. He has this man who's meant to be the Minister of Labor and Productivity, or rather say on productivity, who went on TV to try to hoodwink Nigerians, telling them that the charge against Bola Tinubu was just for tax, that all he paid was tax, that it had nothing to do with drugs. That is a big lie. I have the document here. Nigerians can see it. I hope you can see it on the screen here. I have the document here. It actually says, and if you look at it, it says docket. A docket, and as I'm speaking, your viewers can go on Google and fact check me. A docket is used for a criminal pending. A criminal pending. So you don't use a docket for a civil matter. And then right on the very first paragraph on this docket, it says that this is a forfeiture action under section under 21 USC section 881. USC is the United States Criminal Code. I will state it again. USC is the United States Criminal Code. Now, if you're watching at home, you can go on Google and you can fact check me. The United States Criminal Code is Title 18, USC, United States Criminal Code. And I'm going to read what section 881 of the USC, the Criminal Code, says. Now, this is it. I'm reading it. Nigerians can see it here. This is what I'm reading. It says, the following shall be subject to forfeiture to the United States, and no property rights shall exist in them. All monies, negotiable instruments, securities, or other things of value furnished or intended to be furnished by any person in exchange for a controlled substance or listed chemical in violation of this subchapter, all proceeds traceable to such an exchange, and all monies, negotiable instruments, and securities used or intended to be used to facilitate any violation of this subchapter. The word used there is controlled substances. Now, for Nigerians who may not understand this, a controlled substance are what they call narcotics, hard drugs. In this case, it was white heroin. Bola Tinubu was involved in a white heroin cartel. We know, and he was the treasurer of that cartel. And then he put some monies into an account. He was working for Mobil. And as he was working for Mobil, his salary was $2,400. Yet he paid in a total of $1.4 million into several accounts. Now, he was asked to explain how he got those monies. He could not explain how he got those monies. So one of those accounts, the money's in there, $460,000. It was forfeited to the United States government. It was not taxed. Now, there is only one agency of the United States government that has been given the authority to take forfeited amount, and that is the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. If you look at the case of the U.S. state, the state versus Ishmael Zambalda, who was the leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel, the exact same language that was used in this docket is the exact same language that was used for that man, Ishmael Zambalda. And if you're watching me, you can Google it. That it says that you agree to forfeit $5 million to the United States. Word for word with what was used for Bola Tinubu. The only difference is the amount. Bola Tinubu forfeited $460,000. Ishmael Zambalda forfeited $5 million. But the source of the money came from the same place, drugs.
Yeah, but Reno, let me come in very quickly. So some people, of course, of the school of thought will say to you, forfeiture is in fact a civil proceeding, not a criminal proceeding. What do you say to that? Also, an indictment is an allegation and not a conviction. There is that school of thought around it. Does it hold any weight for you?
No, I have a master's in law from the United Kingdom. You know, the man who came to speak, what's his name? Festus Keyamo. And look, the Legal Practitioners Privileges Council, they have to sanction Festus Keyamo because what he did was either very dishonest or very ignorant or both. And you've got foreign embassies who are watching this and they have equivalent titles to the senior advocate of Nigeria. If they watch on television this man speaking so ignorantly and so dishonestly, they're going to tell their own governments that, listen, we need to stop having equivalency with the senior advocate of Nigeria because standards have dropped. A forfeiture flows from a... Look, you can have forfeiture in a civil matter, which is rare, but most forfeitures will flow from a criminal charge. Most forfeitures will flow from a criminal charge. And you also have it here in the EFCC in Nigeria. You can check it in the EFCC in Nigeria. You have several governors who have gone to jail. I don't want to mention their names because I don't want to hurt their families, but they forfeited their houses, they forfeited monies in their accounts to the federal government through the EFCC. It's the same thing with the United States. It wasn't a civil matter. I mean, I just showed you the docket. I mean, I hope your cameras can catch it. If you're watching me at home, go on Google. Don't take my word. Assuming Omokri is lying to you, check the word docket. A docket is not used for a civil matter. This is a criminal matter. Look at it there. You know, it says there, you know, I'm going to read it for you. Docketed July 28. And then it says that verified complaint of forfeiture. Is a complaint used in a civil matter? So, I mean, these people, they are trying to hoodwink Nigerians. They are trying to pull the wool over the eyes of Nigerians. And it's so disappointing.
Reno. Reno, just to butt in there, I mean, yes, the cameras can see the document that you have there, you know, very clearly, and you have displayed it twice. That's okay. But my question is, how is the document that you are holding different from the certified true copy that the U.S. court released last week? And how does that detract from the fact that by 2003, 10 years after, you know, the alleged infringement and the case and everything, that the U.S. court declared that Bola Tinubu was no longer under investigation and that the case had been closed, having forfeited more than $400,000, you know, to the U.S. government. Is there still a case there? And how is this different from the certified true copy that the court released last week?
No. This is the certified true copy. This is it. This is the first page. Don't you see it there? A true copy attested. Thomas G. Burton Clerk. Yeah. This is a certified true copy. This is what you're talking about. This is it.
Yeah.
This is a document.
Okay. So it's the same document that Nigerians have seen.
Let me respond to your questions.
All right. Go on.
Yeah, please let me respond to your question. Yeah, so what you have, I'm going to give you a very good example. The United States they do not have exactly the same kind of criminal system that you have in Nigeria. So, for instance, now, maybe you are charged for an offense in the United States. There's something called a plea bargain. Now, it takes a lot of money to prosecute a case in America. It can take millions of dollars to prosecute a case in America. And sometimes when you prosecute a case in America, you might not even get a conviction. But when you have a defendant in a case who agrees to a plea bargain and says, okay, yes, I know that you've charged me to court, and I know that this and this and this and this are what you're saying. But you know what? Instead of going all the way, I actually agree to these and these charges, and then let's reach a settlement. And that's what happened in this case. In this case, what they were going after, they were not going after Bola Tinubu as the main defendant. They were going after two people. One of them, his name is Muiz Akonde, and then the other one is a gentleman called Agbele. They are both in Nigeria. Now, as I'm speaking to you right now, I will ask Nigerians to go through the list, the Executive Council of the Lagos State Government, and then see if there's any familiar names there, and then begin to ask questions. Why is that person in the Lagos State Executive Council, and what is the relationship of that person to this Akonde that was mentioned in this drug case involving Bola Tinubu? I'm not going to say more, Anyway, so going back there, when you have a plea bargain and then you say, okay, I'm going to forfeit this, then the government walks away because they don't want to go through a lengthy trial. What they just want to do is to destroy your criminal organization. I'm going to give you an example now. You've had several drug cartel leaders, several drug cartel leaders who have reached plea bargain agreements with the United States to forfeit loads of money, to forfeit sometimes as much as hundreds of millions of dollars. And then when that's done, they go their way, and then the United States goes their way, and then their criminal enterprise is destroyed. That is what happened here. The forfeiture of that $460,000 was meant to be punitive, was meant to smash that white heroin drug cartel. And then when the US government felt that they succeeded in doing that, then the case ended. I do agree that this case has been closed. I'm not saying that this case is still pending, but what I'm saying is that as at the time when this case was pending, it wasn't just a civil matter, it arose out of a criminal matter, and that Bola Tinubu was at the heart of this white heroin drug cartel. Okay. And here is the challenge for Nigeria. If we elect, can I finish please? If we elect a known drug lord as our president, it's going to have serious ramifications on our economy. You're going to have what happened in Colombia, where major banks and foreign direct investors did not want to invest in Colombia because their president was linked to drugs. It's going to happen to Nigeria, and that is going to drive the value of the naira down. It's going to have an effect on you when you travel with your green passport, because you are going to be looked automatically as a suspect. We cannot afford that.
Okay, Reno. So is this a moral burden on the candidacy of Bola Tinubu of APC, or is this actionable as far as the PDP is concerned? I know that your party has gone to court regarding the caretaker committee of the APC and all that they did in midwifing, the processes that led to the selection of the candidate. So is this actionable for you, or you are just appealing to the conscience of voters as far as this case that is now closed is concerned?
Well, I mean, whether or not it is actionable depends on the court. So yes, anybody can take this to court, and I will recommend that people do. But we've got, between now and the election, we've got about 3.5 months. So any legal proceeding is not going to see out its shelf life before the end of the election. So what I will say, I'm appealing to Nigerian voters. They're watching me. Look, we've done our best to bring this out to you. We've done our best to make sure that you see this before the election. The question I want to ask you as a Nigerian voter, do you want a known drug lord as your president? Because it's going to have effects on you. It's going to have ramifications on you, on your passport, on your currency, on the way people view you abroad. Is that what you want? So this is beyond even a moral burden. This is a national existential crisis. If we have a known drug lord, go and research what happened in Colombia. Go and research what happened in Panama. It affected their economy. It affected even school children, because the amount of foreign aid coming to the country was affected because of the person that they had at the top. Is that what you want for Nigeria? That's all I'm going to say to Nigerians. Think very, very deeply. There are alternatives, better alternatives. You've got Waziri Atiku Abubakar, who has no such encumbrances against him. So do you want a known drug lord, or do you want a known wealth builder, a known businessman that has verifiable businesses? The choice is up to Nigerians.
All right, Reno, as we approach the end of the segment, we just want to get from you, in light of all the information you've got right now, and of course with the benefit of the wealth of your experience and knowledge in this area, what course do you expect for events to take in this regard, outside of the influence of the Nigerian electorate? Knowing the Nigerian system, what are your immediate expectations of events that will unfold following this?
Well, my expectations are that Bola Tinubu will not address this. Bola Tinubu will continue to send fellows like Festus Keyamo, who are morally damaged, to go on TV to try to lie like he did, that this is a tax issue when it's all about drug money, and that, he's going to try to make sure that this goes away before the elections. That's my expectations on the APC. But my expectations for Nigerian people and the media is to continue to put this in the front burner, to continue to talk about this, because Nigerians don't have a very, very long attention span. Nigerians have a short attention span. So if we don't keep talking about this, if we don't keep bringing this up, people are going to forget about it, and then they could make the mistake of voting a known drug lord as their president, God forbid. Now, on the other hand, what I also expect from the political class, I expect somebody, even though this case is not going to be able to go through its shelf life before the election, I expect somebody within the opposition party. It doesn't just have to be the People's Democratic Party. It could be the Labour Party. It could be the NNPP. It could be the SDP. It could be even Omoyele Sowore, who's an activist like myself, to go to court to challenge and say, look, is this man a fit and proper person to be president of Nigeria? That's what I expect.
All right, just a quick one before we let you go, Reno. You threw a shade at the candidates of the Labour Party lately, Peter Obi, after the jab he got from Governor Soludo regarding how the investments he claimed that he left, are performing. And part of what you said was that with what Soludo has said, that is unlikely, even if Peter Obi will come third, that you think that he will now come fourth after NMPP's Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. Have you not been proven wrong now with what happened with the Edo rally, for Peter Obi, and the manner in which people trooped out? Do you still think that it will come forth a third when a number of people actually believe that something may change February next year with the way that Peter Obi is going?
Oh my gosh. I deal in facts. That's why my #1 best-selling book is called Fact versus Fiction. I saw that Edo rally. I want you to cast your mind back to when Waziri Atiku Abubakar went to Kano. Just one word in Kano is about thrice the number that you saw at that Edo rally. And so you have to understand, we're talking about elections. We are not talking about rallies. So if you look at what's happening, yesterday, Waziri Atiku Abubakar was in Jigawa, and this is not Kano, it was in Jigawa. I actually tweeted a video of that event, So the crowd that showed up for him at Jigawa was probably maybe 5 times more than the crowd that showed up for Peter Obi in Edo State. So let's face matters. It's a bit cold here in your studios. Let's face matters. You see, Peter Obi this internet delusion of Peter Obi is going to fade in about 3.5 months. This election is just between Waziri Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu, and possibly Kwankwaso will come a distant third.
All right, Reno. Well, we have to just take it like that. Thank you so much for joining us on the morning show today. It's a pleasure.